Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. I welcome you all to the lecture number 10th for the course of routing and switching. My name is Engineer Jafar Ali and I am instructor for this course. So this is the first part or the part A for the lecture number 10. Today's topic we will be covering another protocol that is known as CDP, that is Cisco Discovery Protocol. We will discuss that where this is used, how this is used, how this is implemented, what are the correlation between this protocol and a network, how does this mapping occur. And in the second part of the lecture we will discuss about the device management. Different entities are involved in the management of this protocol, so how this implementation is basically made compatible with that entities. So in that scenario we will learn about the configuration of NTP. This is another protocol, and syslog. These are used in the medium size business network, mainly used by Cisco. And after that we will learn about the implementation of NTP between a client NTP and a server NTP. Later on we will discuss about the explanation of the syslog operation, and in the last we will discuss about the configuration of the syslog and servers and clients. And in the third part we will discuss about the device management, maintenance, how this maintenance is used, how you maintain this network by taking a backup and restoration processes, how can you upgrade your iOS system image, and different more topics will be covered in the next lecture inshallah. So let's start with the discovery. This is the slide for the Cisco. Let's talk about this protocol, that is CDP. Now CDP is a Cisco Discovery Protocol. This is a proprietary Cisco protocol, and it means that only the Cisco routers are compatible with this protocol, and this is a layer 2 protocol actually, used to gather the information about the Cisco devices sharing a common link, or you can say a medium. This periodic CDP advertisement are sent to different connected devices, and this share type of the device is then discovered. Also name of devices and number and types of the interfaces also discovered in this protocol. It also determines the information about the neighboring devices to build a logical topology when the documentation is missing. It means that if you do not have any documentation provided, you can also find the information using this protocol. So it will be very much helpful if you are not given with the documentation. If you are not given with the documentation, you can use this protocol to find the neighboring devices and the topology and different names and different types of the interfaces as well. This is the configuration and verification process for the CDP. In the first diagram you can see that, let me highlight it for you. This is the verification status and display information. So using this command show CDP, it will display the status as well as the information about the ongoing scenario. This is no neighbors detected. If you want to find out or you want to search about the neighbors of your given network or given user or host or server, you can find the neighbors as well using this show CDP neighbors. Similarly, if you want to find if you want to enable the interface on CDP, you can also do that using this command, interface gigabit ethernet /01 and then CDP net enable. So this using this command, it will enable the CDP on the interface. In later on, the next thing you see over here is basically no CDP run globally is disabled, and when you run this command CDP run, it will actually enable the CDP, that is this protocol will be enabled after you run this command CDP run. This command is mentioned over here. By default there is no CDP. This command is basically causing no CDP and disabling CDP. And in the last command, this is show CDP interface. This will display all the interfaces that are connected with the CDP enabled. Now, how does this discovering of the devices can achieved by using this CDP? So there are some commands where you can actually find the devices that are you can discover the devices that are connected using your this command. So this command is mentioned over here, that is show CDP neighbors. It will display all the commands. Let's say this is the device S1. This local interface is basically gig01, and the hold on time is given as 122. The capability is SI, and the platform, these are different you can say parameters that are shown over here. And this command will discover the device ID, the local port identifier, the remote port identifier, the router, and the hardware platform. These are different parameters that will be displayed if you use this command. Now, if you want more information about the iOS version, or you can say the IPv address, so you can also find the information by using a small keyword after this command, that is detail. That command will be used along with a specific keyword, that is detail. It will also show you or display you the information about the IP address and the iOS version. You can see that if I run this command, this is the image captured by the Cisco, and it is displaying the version of the iOS. You can see over here, this iOS version is shown over here, and also the time and date, also the copyright. This is, you can see that the copyright is by Cisco, and you can also get the IP address. This is the IP address. So using this specific keyword detail, you can find the more information about that specific device. Let's talk about the discovering of the devices more. Let's say this is your switch S1, and other devices can be connected to this S1, or you can also find that devices as well. So if you use this command as well, you will be S2 will be revealed as an output. And if there is no devices to discover, this will display no devices. You can say here this will display no devices, because you can see that S2 is not connected to anyone. So S1 was connected to someone, so that is why it has displayed or revealed the information about the S2. But further, S2 is not with anyone else, so it will not be a part of more discovery process. This packet tracer is basically a Cisco tool you can use for discovering of different items and parameters. This packet tracer is a Cisco proprietary tool, and you can see the diagram shown over here. By using this Cisco packet tracer, you can map a network using this CDP. So you can find the interface, the device type, the interface, the IP address, the subnet mask, and the local interface and the connected neighbor. So these are some more parameters that you can find by using the tool of Cisco, that is packet tracer. Now let's talk about another protocol, that is LLDP. LLDP is basically the link layer discovery protocol. It is vendor neutral neighboring discovery similar to CDP. It works with the routers, switches, and wireless LAN access points. It also advertises its identity and capabilities to other devices and information from the connected layer 2 device. So it is basically similar to CDP, but it is unlike CDP. This is basically a vendor neutral neighboring discovery protocol. The interface and the configuration is shown over here in this diagram. You can configure this LLDP protocol by using this command, configure T. You can see that the switch, this is the switch, and you have configured it with T. So this, using this command LLDP run, if you run this command, it will basically enable the LLDP globally. And as you see that if you run this command, show LLDP, it will display the status, the advertisements, time and their periodicity, the LLDP hold time advertisement, as well as the reinitialization time or delay for this LLDP interface. So these are different commands that you can use for this LLDP. And if you want to disable this LLDP globally, you can run this command as a switch in a switch configuration, that is no LLDP run. So if you run this command, this will be, the status will be disabled, or you can say inactive. Let's talk about the discovery process using this LLDP command instead of this CDP. So if you run find the discovery using this command as a switch, if you are configuring a switch and you run this show LLDP neighbors, it will also display the neighbors. There are two neighbors, the device IDs, one is the router and then is the switch, their interfaces, their hold time, their capabilities and their port IDs as well. And if you want to find more detail similar to the CDP, but this will give you a little more detail regarding the chassis ID, the port ID, the port description and the system name. These are some information that you will be getting, as well as this IP address is mentioned over here. You can see that these are giving you a little bit more information about LLDP. So using this keyword detail, you are getting more details regarding this LLDP device discovering process. So in the lab, inshallah, when the university will be opened, you will be learning about this configuration of CDP and LLDP hands-on. So that is why I have mentioned this lab over here. So if the university is opened in a short time, I will highly recommend if you do this practical in your lab. The objectives, the part one of the objective will be you have to build the network and configure basic devices settings. The second part will be you have to discover the network using CDP, and the second part, sub part will be you have to discover the network using this LLDP. So these are the three main objectives of this lecture, and I will highly recommend that if you use this practical in your lab. Let's talk about the device management. This was all about the discovery processing, device discovery processing using CDP. This was the part of your course, but LLDP is also included in your course because they are acting similarly, so you have to learn both of these instead of only one. The next thing is basically device management. So you know that in order to manage a specific device, the most important thing is the clock or the time. So for that you have, the first thing that you have to do is basically you have to set the clock. So that is why you have to set the clock. This will set the time, date, etc. Also this is also configured from the source console as well. So you have two options, either to do it manually or to do it automatically. So managing, securing and troubleshooting and planning networks requires to accurate time stamping. As I've already told you, date and time settings on the router or switch can be set using one of two methods: manually, as shown in the figure. This is, I have done it manually. And the second thing is basically you have to configure the network protocol time, network time protocol, NTP. This NTP is used with a UDP port 123, and this NTP clients obtain time and date from a single source, either from the server or on the ISP provider. So this NTP clients obtain their time and date from a single source. Let's talk about this NTP operation. There are four actually options for you to set your time. The first one is basically start term 0, the second one is start term 1, the third one is start term 2, and the last one is straw stratum 3. So in stratum 0, the top level of this is the top level of the hierarchical system of any authorized time sources, and this is assumed to be the most accurate. For example, let's say this is your GMT, global Greenwich Mean Time. This is your GMT. So this is your stratum 0. This is just an example. This is a globally time, the unauthorized time that you can take as a reference. The second one is there. Let's say the specific region time. For example, let's say there is this is the child of this main you can say router or body or any entity. It is directly connected to that authorized source, and it acts as a primary network time standard. In the stratum 2, this is basically the lower, and it is connected to this stratum 1. And it is also possible that many of these devices are connected to stratum 1. So that is why it is more possible. It has the most possibility of having similar times of these. In the last layer, or you can say the lower layer, this is the stratum 3, and it acts as it will take their time from, and this is stratum 2. So you can see that there will be a small difference between this time and this time because of this hierarchical level. The larger the stratum number, you can also find out more stratum. If you go for the larger stratum number, the lower the stratum, the maximum hop is 50. And stratum 16, that is the lowest stratum level, this indicates a device is unsynchronized, because you know that the lower you go, the more unsynchronization will be occurring because of the delay that is covering from this side each layer. So this is why this is the NTP operation has a lot of feedbacks and drawbacks as well. Let's try to configure this NTP and verify the status. So the first thing that you want to, I'm sorry, I've clicked a wrong site. So the first thing that you have to do is basically you have to configure your NTP stratum server. So let's say we have the stratum 2 NTP server and we want to configure it. So we will display the first thing that show clock detail. It will show us the clock and the detail, and this time source basically is a user configuration. And if you want to take the time from a specific server, you can use this command NTP and also provide the specific email or IP address of that server, and that you can end the process. And after that, if you run this command again, show this clock time, you can see that the time has been changed because the new time will be taken from this specific server. You see that the date is still the same, the day is same, but the time is now changed because of the hierarchical level as I've shown you. So the server, let's say this is connected to stratum 0, so this time will be shown over here. Similarly, if you want to verify the status of this NTP configuration, you can use this command show NTP associations. It will show you the reference of the IP address, that from where it is taken the time, the GPS location, the stratum level, the when, the pole. These are different parameters: delay, offset, display. These are different parameters that you can see using this command associations. And if you want to see the status of the NTP, you can also see that it will provide you the nominal frequency and the actual frequency and the precision as well, and different offset, root dispersion, loop lifter state, and system pole interval. These are different things that you can get if you use this information and verification NTP system configuration process. And this R1 is in this diagram, you can see that this R1 is basically synchronized with stratum 1 NTP server. This is the stratum 1 NTP server, let's say, and the IP of this is 209.165.200.225, which is synchronized with the GPS clock. So this is basically connected to this. If I run this command over here, you can see that if I run this command over here, and this time that it has the time, and it will be copied from here to this router. Similarly, if this S1 runs the command or NTP, it will take the time from here, and these users will be taking the time from here. So this is a hierarchical level. You can see that these things are going in that direction. Let's talk about the configuration a little bit more. In this diagram, you can see that you are configuring the Stratum 3 NTP server, and in the switch S1 you are using, you can see that this is the S1 switch, and now we have to configure this NTP server at Stratum 3. So this is basically your NTP server. You have and then you have showed the status and the association, and later on you have displayed the status. You can also configure it using this command that I have done till now. This thing, NTP server configure. So I have configured it and I have verified the status over here. So this is the configuration and this is the verification. Also this can be done, this can be achieved by using a Cisco proprietary tool that is known as Packet Tracer. You can do it manually, and I will highly recommend if you do this in your lab. And the objective of this will be, let me highlight it for you. You will be configuring an NTP or R1 R2 to allow the time synchronization. You have to synchronize this R1 R2 with this server PT. So you will have to first configure this server, this switch with this server, and later on you will have to configure these two R1 and R2 using this time that is copied from this server PT. So this is a very much interesting lab work that I will highly recommend you to perform in your lab when the university gets open. Let's talk about the syslog operation. Syslog is basically a standard, it describes a standard or a protocol. It is not by itself a protocol, it is basically something that is describing a protocol or a standard. This is used by a UDP port number 514, and it sends the event notification messages across all the IP networks to the event message collectors, routers, switches, the servers, different firewalls, hubs, except these all not hubs, these all the layer 2 devices, layer 3, layer 2 devices are basically supporting this syslog information. You can see that syslog, the name shows that this is the log of the system. So log means the information and the raw data that is collected. So this information is basically done using the syslog operation. Syslog logging services provide three primary functions. The first one is it has the ability to gather the logging information for the monitoring and troubleshooting purposes. It has the ability to select the type of logging information that is captured, and in the last it has the ability to specify the destination of a captured syslog messages. So these are some primary functions that is achieved by this operation of syslog. So you can see that all of this are including a common word that is information logging. You can see the logging information, and this is also specify the destination, so it is also kind of information. So this is maintaining a log, or you can say that log book that is maintaining all this information about the device. Syslog operation, basically syslog protocol start by sending us system messages, and later on it debugs the output to a local logging process internal to the device. And how this it also describe that how the logging process manages these messages, and output is based on this device configurations. This syslog messages may be sent across the network to an external syslog server, and it can be pulled into various reports, so you can take as much information as you want. And the last operation of syslog is basically this messages of this syslog may be sent to internal buffer, and it will be only viewable through the CLI of the device, that is the clear list interface device. You can we have discussed the CLI in the last class, in which we have discussed ACL, access control list. So this control list interface is basically, this is shown over here. Now you get the idea of the pattern that we are following in this course, and this is the diagram over here. This switch 1 is connected to a logging buffer, a console line, a terminal line, and a syslog server. All the information will be using this switch will be stored over in this kind of destinations. There are 4 possible destinations: logging buffer, the first one; the console line, the second one; the terminal line, the third one; and the syslog server, the fourth one. So let's talk about the syslog messages format. These are different syslog messages format shown in this diagram. Cisco provide a variety of messages, syslog messages, because of different events, their occurrences of these events. So for every different activity or servicity, they have another level and another message status. So for emergency, the level will be 0, and the explanation will be system unusable. Similarly, if you have an alert or critical message or error message or warning message or notification message or any information message or any debugging log, these have all these different, they are categorized in different levels, so that a user, by knowing a level number, user can get the information that he will have the idea that it is a kind of alert message. If user get the information that it is the level of 5, user will be think that it is some kind of notification message, and it is normal but significant condition. Similarly, this level 6 is showing that it is informational messages. You can see that these all are nothing but the messages. So using this level number from 0 to 7, these are total 8 levels. So user will have an idea about the type of message, that what type of message is this. So you can see that each syslog has its own meaning. It means this warning level 4, notification level 5, information level 6, debugging level 7, and this list go on. Every number has its own meaning. So this was all about the first part. I hope that you have understood quite a lot. I'll see you in the second part of this lecture. Do not forget to watch the second part, and do write your questions with yourself. If you are facing any questions, I will highly recommend if you write these questions down with you and ask me in the class, because you know that the more you ask, the more you learn. Thank you very much. I'll see you in the second part.